Welcome to Gay Milwaukee. Today we have a guest, Victoria, transitioning to Julien. Julien, how has that journey been?
It's been interesting, very tumultuous, very up and down. So it's not been smooth, but has anything in my life been smooth?
And this is really recent for you.
Yes. It came out about a week ago to my dad.
How did that go?
Oh, well, I did it over the phone, so at least he couldn't beat me up over the phone. My dad said he loved me, but he didn't agree, and my mom said she didn't know she could love me as a son.
Do you think things like this take time, or do you think...
It takes time, and also they're very, very conservative Christian, evangelical.
That does play a part in all this, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Your other family members, how are they, and friends, how are they taking that?
My adopted siblings, I'm adopted. I don't know any of my biological siblings. They don't agree. My one sister said she loves me, but she would not want to hang around me and would not want me around her family. My brother said he will always love me, but he can't support me. And then I haven't come out to my third brother yet. And my friends have all been supportive. They love me for who I am, not what gender I have. And they said, you do you, what makes you happy, it's your body, your choice. We're your real family, like if your family disowns you. So I've definitely, for my family it's been not so positive, but for my friends it's been nothing but overwhelming love and respect, and everyone's been like super proud. I had one friend ask like, are you really sure this is a big decision? But it more so came from a place of caring. I mean, I think the part about my parents being really hesitant is due to I've had so many mental health issues in the past that just feel that the hormones will interfere with that and reset me back. So.
I have to ask too, we talked about this earlier, how as anybody in the LGBT community, we have this tendency to, when we stand in our truths, we have to worry about how our parents, our siblings, our friends, our coworkers are going to take it, and we have to console and explain and talk to and help make it okay for other people, and we're worried about this person and this person. But at the end of the day, no one's asking us how we feel. How are you feeling?
Honestly, I feel like a lost child. I feel like I don't, not in the sense that I know what I'm doing, but my parent is gone, and I felt that my whole life, and like this is like the first time where I feel like I don't have to rely on that parent. I'm doing something for me. I'm not doing it because what my family wants. I'm not doing this because that's what's good to society. I'm doing it because it's for me, and I think I'm content being a woman, but I would be very deeply fulfilled being a man, and that's the big difference. And instead of feeling like a lost child, I feel excited, but I feel lost in the sense that it's scary. It's something new. I mean, anything new, whether good or bad, is scary. Change is scary, no matter how good or bad it is.
Agreed. I think, on my perspective, when someone makes that big of a moment to stand in their truth, they should be celebrated. And unfortunately, we live in a world where people tell us what you should be based on their comfort levels or what they believe is right. So what is something you wish people would just be on the same page more so when it comes to this, if they could understand?
That I thought about it for quite a while. Because people, I guess like you said earlier, like it's fresh to them, so they think it must be fresh to you. And in a sense it is fresh to me, because it's fresh in that I'm coming out and I'm speaking my truth out loud instead of just bottling it up. I've done that my whole life, but it's not fresh for me in the sense that it's something I've always wanted since I was a very young child. So it's something like when I was little, I used to wear my hair short, not as short as it now, but like more like to this length, like just like this length all around. And because if I became a boy, then I could look like a boy as a child. And then I grew my hair long when I accepted that as a woman, and I was never going to grow up to be a boy. When I was 2018, then I can grow up to be a boy if I want.
Yeah, I think another thing too, all of us have in common in the LGBT community is identity. A lot of us don't fit in, and some of us do fit in, especially being a person that's transgender. What are your thoughts on that?
So for me, I grew up not fitting in anywhere. And so for me, it's been very powerful and very lonesome time, but it's been very powerful, and it taught me how to be comfortable being uncomfortable and reach out to people who are alone and lonesome, but also in the sense that I'm comfortable no matter what. Yeah, some moments may be a little bit more disconcerting and discombobulating than others, but for the main part, it's something I'm used to. I can deal with it. I've lived with it my whole life, and I've learned how to live with it, and I've learned how to use it to thrive. So.
For other people that are transitioning or the thought is crossing their minds that don't also fit in, where do you feel you fit in the most?
I would say with Chinese, well, especially Chinese, but transracial adoptees, because that's something that will never go away. Once I complete, hopefully, get the funds and whatever, complete my transition to man, I can fit in with men. People would barely notice unless I tell them. People don't notice I have Asperger's unless I tell them. I can't change the fact that I'm adopted. I don't fit in with Chinese people, but I fit in with adoptees, and it's something I can talk about, and I don't have to explain myself. So I know that it's not what you're looking for, but it's definitely where I fit in the most.
And I think on top of being a person of color and trans, the adoptee plays a big factor into your identity, because it I don't want to say speak for you, but does it really kind of follow you to some extent in life too?
Yeah, I mean, whenever people ask about my family, I have to explain that, oh, my family is white, there's a reason. Or then, it does come up, and then people have all these questions. So I've spent my whole life having to expose or talk about the most private, intimate parts, emotional parts of my life, feeling like I had no privacy. I mean, my parents grew up telling my story. I grew up with my parents telling my story all the time to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and I felt I had no privacy, and now they wonder why I don't tell them things.
I think also with parents, it's not easy to come out or stand in your truth, and I couldn't imagine the idea of transitioning. I think a lot of us get disowned, a lot of parents don't agree. Some of us do have parents that do accept. Some of them, anything can happen. What do you hope going forward will be the outcome with that relationship?
Well, I mean, I hope they don't disown me, because, for goodness sake, but I really hope that it's just something that they'll adjust to, and they'll get over an initial shock, and they'll realize that I'm still the same person. I'm still a bad dancer. I still, am the runt of the litter. I might weigh a little bit more, but I'll still be the shortest one in the family, so, I'm still the same person. It's just the outside that looks a little bit different.
Yeah, it's interesting how people can get caught up on little things like gender or skin color or sexuality, and they're really, at the end of the day, such trivial things once you think about it. It's not, in a perfect world, I don't think it determines that much of your personality. I also think that there's a lot of people I've noticed in our community that are transitioning, and it's such a journey, and it's not easy. What are the things you are expecting to happen next with this?
Well, I just got a job with benefits, hooray. I'm sure you saw that on Facebook. Dental, vision, and health, so very excited. And in 3 months, once that kicks in, I'm gonna start taking testosterone, probably injections, and then save up money for top surgery, and then save up money for bottom surgery. But I already passed fairly well. I have a very well-defined jawline, and it can all be yours if the price is right. So yeah, I'm just gonna take it one step at a time, not trying to plan my whole life out, because that's the only way you can do things. If you try and do that, you just get discouraged.
Right. That's an important thing to think about, because a message to tell, because I think a lot of people, when they think of transgender, there's a lot of money that goes into that for some people. It's very expensive, and like we talked earlier, not everybody fits in, but I think to some degree. We want to be able to look, to be what we are on the inside, and to make that visible on the outside. And I know with some of my other friends that transitioned, it's a process, but you've given it some thought on how to go about that. Do you think, how would you explain that to someone who is new to this?
I think for me, like emotionally, I'm prepared for it in
Yeah.
a sense. I don't think you can ever really truly be prepared for these things. You can, you can try and prepare yourself as best you can, but some things you can't really know until you experience it yourself. But I think in terms of like financial, don't think about the financial, yes, plan that out. But if that's what you all think about, then you'll just be miserable and you won't do it. You gotta do what, I won't say make you happy, because happy is just, it's so fleeting. It's just based off chemical reactions. What makes you fulfilled is a better thing, because fulfillment is more long lasting, it's less temperamental, and it's more consistent. And it's much easier to map out versus happiness can come and go. One minute you can be happy, another moment you can be sad. It can change so quickly.
Well, I'm really proud of you. I think every time someone comes out, transitions, even questions their sexuality, it's revolutionary. I think every time someone does it, 10 years down the road, it makes it that much easier for someone to come out, to transition. And our cats are being silly in the background.
Yes, they are.
But, maybe one day, kids 10 years from now won't have to have the same experience as you. And I think that's what makes us in this moment so important, and why we should be celebrated, because we kick the walls down, we break the doors down so somebody else won't have to go through what we went through. But do you know that? Do you think about that too?
Yeah. I'm a bit more conservative about it due to how I was raised, but I think it should be cherished that someone is honoring something that is truthful to them. I think truthfulness and honesty are very important in the core values of a good society, good healthy society, and I think that someone choosing to follow that path is something worth honoring and to celebrate. I don't think because it's different it should be celebrated any differently. But that's coming from me, where I'm more of a quiet celebration and more like I don't need trumpets and parades.
Well, you should be celebrated. Anybody that can stand up and just say, this is who I am in this day and age, we got your back. And last but not least, we have the question bowl. Gonna draw one.
Do I ready?
Yeah, you go ahead.
What brings out the best in you? I would definitely say my music. My music, I write a really, Adele, you've heard of Adele, and have you heard of Elliott Smith?
Elliott Smith.
Between the Bodies. That's
Yes.
his most famous song. My music is, if they had a baby with each other, that's what my music would be. It's very depressing. Everyone thinks like, oh, you write such depressing music, you're never gonna get over your ex-girlfriend with your music. I've been writing breakup songs since before I even had my first girlfriend. So this is just my niche. But for me, it's more so like it expresses the emotions, the uncomfortable emotions that people experience, and so that it's okay to feel this way. It's okay to have this. It's okay to express it in a healthy, positive manner that maybe will help other people and help you cope with it and deal with it better. So my music is really about helping people feel not alone. I've always listened to my music as what I wish I had growing up. And now I have it, and I hope other people feel that way about my music. And even if not, then at least I have it for myself.
On our show, we have a lot of artists in the gay community, and do you feel there's a parallel between having the struggles we have as people in the LGBT community and being an artist, that it comes through in that somehow?
Yes, but I think my music more so focuses on adoption, because I view that as more of a part of a centrifugal part of my identity than LGBT. LGBT is it is a part, but it's not a centrifugal part to my identity. It's having black hair, whereas being adopted, it's so big a thing in my life. So I would say LGBT would be an aside was being adopted would be a chapter or a subplot.
Gotcha. That's interesting because I think a lot of us don't have to. Many of us have our biological parents, and we don't take the time to think about that because it's not very much put in our reality, so we don't know to think about it. But it's, I think you're probably the second person that I know that's adopted, which I know that's crazy, but a lot of us don't get the opportunity to know how much more there is to, having that, to not know your biological parents and, to think about it from time to time. I mean, the closest thing I could say I've done is an ancestry test. And have you ever tried seeking them out of curiosity?
I went and I looked in 2011. It was a waste of money. I didn't find them. I met the police officer who found me. I don't know. It's just very emotionally. There were a lot of things that happened at that time. A lot of things happened in the trip, both good and bad. Really wonderful things happened. Really awful things happened. Not awful in the sense that they were inherently awful, but awful in the sense that it just made me realize a lot of things about myself. It just made me feel alone, that trip. And because I didn't find my parents and I went in with the expectation that I would, it's very disconcerting.
I gotta say, just on this topic too, a lot of us in the LGBT community, we don't always have family, or we sometimes there's a disconnect and we don't always have it, but we got each other, right?
Yes.
That's what counts.
We are family.
Julien, it has been such a pleasure having you. I am really glad we got to reach out and got to do this. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Jinx.
All right, that's it for Gay Milwaukee. Signing out. Next time on Gay Milwaukee.
We break rules. We make new rules. We set our own standards. That's one of the things I love about being, a queer person. That's what I love about being gay. I love that I am, different. I do this. I dress up in drag. And it's to the point where even the people in my neighborhood are used to seeing me in drag. They're like, oh, there she goes.